Hi Ben, Ash here. One of the things that we're really trying to look at is upsizing our car. Just given that the family is growing, is it better just to get a new car and put it on the mortgage, or actually just save up and pay for it in cash, or try to get a finance lease? Keen to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much.
So, upgrading your car is something that becomes almost a necessity as your family grows. There are four main ways that you can make that happen, each with their own advantages and disadvantages. Now, the first option is that you can save up money in cash and buy the car that way. That can be a great option in that you've got the money there available and you're not having to take on any borrowings. It's generally going to be cheaper because the interest rate on any of the borrowing options or leasing, which I'll come to, is generally going to be higher than what you would pay if you're just saving money up yourself. But the downside of that is that it is slow going and can take some time, especially depending on what sort of car that you want. The second option is that you borrow under regular vehicle financing. That, depending on what the interest rate is, can be a quicker way to get into the market and an easier way to get your car upgraded. But depending on what the financing rate is, you can end up paying a decent chunk in interest, particularly when you look at that over the full term of the loan. The third option is a bit of a variation on this, which is borrowing money onto your mortgage, which essentially means that you've got the same amount of borrowing, but you're typically doing that at a lower interest rate, meaning that you pay less interest over the length of time that you have the car. The other tricky thing with borrowing against your home is that you don't need to make as high repayments as what you do when you've got vehicle financing, which means that you've got the ability to have the debt uh, held over a much longer period. And if you do hold the debt over a longer period, you're going to end up paying a lot more interest. So with car financing, you have higher repayments, but you get rid of that debt faster because you're forced to. With a mortgage, you need to be disciplined to make sure that you do pay it down over the same term to actually mean that you are saving on interest costs. The fourth option is borrowing under vehicle leasing arrangements. And that can be quite good, particularly if you're required to drive for your work. That's becoming less and less common these days, though. So, if you're not required to drive for your work, you probably find that the cost of vehicle financing through the dealer or through your mortgage is going to be fairly similar to what the leasing cost is. But when you do it, when you're able to do it through salary packaging because you're required to drive for your work, then leasing can be a cheaper option. The key, I think, for deciding between particularly the last three options, which is around the financing through the dealer, financing through your mortgage, or financing through a lease arrangement, if you actually just crunch the numbers and look at a comparison between the two, that will allow you to make a robust comparison with your eyes open as to the implications. And once you understand what the numbers difference is, you can figure out which one's going to be easier and then make the best decision for you from there.